Hello, welcome back to Press Play Action. Mitchell Lee, Tommy Grant, Brandon 2, not here with us right now. I don't know. I guess he just wasn't ready for what this week had going on. He's still stuck in 2011. We've got The Predator. We've got Prey. As we continue with the Alien and Predator franchise, we're near the conclusion here. We're near the conclusion, and we only have, I think, 2 more of these left. We have Predator, Killer of Killers, and Badlands.
Yep.
And then we have the AVP movies.
Yeah. So we're kind of at least in terms of the Rotten Tomato world, which is never very reliable to go off of, but the Predator franchise starts in the 60s. Then you have a real dip down with the Predator at 34%. And then Prey, Predator Badlands, Predator Killer of Killers, they're all in the high 80s, low 90s.
The Trachtenberg
So you have the
movies.
big spike, and then the Predator versus Alien movies just tank. So
I've heard some things about Requiem. I'm looking forward to seeing it, but I've heard some things.
That's actually the lowest rated. That has a 12%.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I've heard some things about it's directed by the same guys that did Skyline, and I don't know how much you remember from my my 2010 rankings. That was a bottom 3 movie of that year, below The Last Airbender.
Beautiful.
So yeah, no, I am ready to watch a big pile of crap, but let's first talk about these 2 movies. Let's talk about The Predator. All right, so this one was directed by Shane Black, who was the guy that kept talking, who just kept making jokes in the first Predator movie. He was the guy that just kept making...
He was in the Predator movie?
Yeah, he was in the first Predator.
Oh,
he was like the shorter guy. Yeah, that was him.
Yeah.
So
I did not.
This was on my top 10 most anticipated movies of 2018 list going into the year, because Shane Black had just made The Nice Guys in 2016. And The Nice Guys is a movie I consider to be one of the best of the decade. I love that movie so much. So I had high expectations. Then again,
what movies did he make?
He made Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, which is a movie I have not seen, but I've heard it's really good.
I've heard good things.
He also made, and maybe I'm just not a fan of his blockbuster filmmaking. He made Iron Man 3, and I do not like Iron Man 3.
That's a controversial movie. A lot of people either love it or hate it. So
it really is a love it or hate it, and that movie kind of sinks or swims with the whole Mandarin thing, and that is definitely where, I mean, I had my issues with it beforehand. Big jumping off point with me there, but it was a creative choice. It was interesting. It just didn't work for me. But The Predator, on the other hand, and again, coming off The Nice Guys, which just all-time great movie for me. Love that. Great film.
So you and I have joked about this, but I'm kind of seeing a pattern now looking at these movies that he's made. Almost every single one of them has had a younger kid sidekick type character in the movie. Because Iron Man 3, you had the little kid helping out Tony Stark. The Nice Guys, you had that little girl that kind of joins along with them towards the second half of the movie. So maybe that's just his thing of having a random kid in the movie having a bigger role. Maybe he wants kid actors to, give him a jumping start. Who knows? But it did not work in this movie at all.
Because I thought in Iron Man 3, it was fine. Honestly, that didn't really bother me too much. And The Nice Guys, again, I thought that was incredible. I thought that Angourie Rice was great in that movie. Here, in Jacob Tremblay, I don't think you've seen... Have you seen Room? Not The Room. I made you watch that. Not that one. It's just Room.
Yes.
It's got Brie Larson in it.
It's Brie Larson, yes. Yep,
and
I have seen that one.
It is absolutely phenomenal. And the kid that plays her son in this movie is Jacob Tremblay, who is a fantastic actor, especially when, I don't really know too much about what he's done lately. I think I saw him in Life of Chuck a couple of years ago, but he was a great kid actor. Not as much here, but like in Room, he's great. If you've seen Good Boys, he's got good comedic chops. But this stars Boyd Holbrook, Trevante Rhodes, who was coming off of... Boyd Holbrook was the villain in Logan. Trevante
Yes.
Rhodes was in Moonlight. Jacob Tremblay. You got Keegan-Michael Key. Olivia Munn, who this was the period of time where we put Olivia Munn in movies for some reason. Thomas Jane, and Sterling K. Brown was a hot name at the time. And This Is Us was a hot show, and he's managed to he got Oscar nominated for American Fiction a few years ago. This came
And
out
also,
in the middle.
Jake Busey and Alfie Allen are kind of those random actors that just appear in movies.
Yeah, just kind of popped in.
Yeah.
Alfie Allen, that was the guy. Yeah, he was the
He was
guy
in
that
Game of Thrones. He was also in
John Wick.
John Wick.
Yeah, he was the guy that killed his dog. So
Yep.
every time I see him, I want him dead. This came out middle of September 2018. Budget of $88 million, made $160 million. So this was not a successful movie, but it also wasn't like a giant bomb. But they didn't move forward with, because the movie ends with, and a sequel's coming, and the sequel did not come, partially because it has a 34% on Rotten Tomatoes, and the cinema score, which is big for movies like this because it's word of mouth, was a C+. So people did not like this movie. Also, fun fact, this movie was #1 the weekend it came out on September 14th, 2018, $24 million. However, it was not the highest grossing movie overall of the movies that opened that week. Can you tell me what movie grossed more overall in its domestic run?
2018. Okay, let's go The Nun. I feel like that was a weird movie that came out that year.
The Nun actually came out the week prior. The Nun was #2 that weekend. It came out the week prior. It did make more than The Predator, but did not come out that same week.
I got nothing. I don't even know what movies would have came out in September.
A Simple Favor.
I never remember that movie.
It's actually, I really like that movie. Hated the sequel that came out, but Anna Kendrick, Blake Lively, back when why am I blanking on dude's name from Crazy Rich Asians that was in that one? He was really hot there for a minute, and his star is just completely Henry Golding. I really like Henry Golding. He's really good in that movie. Then he did that G.I. Joe movie, and no one cares about him anymore. I still like Henry Golding.
Oh, the Snake Eyes one?
Yeah, with the G.I. Joe Snake Eyes movie. I actually thought that movie was halfway decent. But yeah, his star is completely fizzled. But yes, that movie made more because people liked it. And it made $53 million, whereas The Predator made $51 million. Because no one liked The Predator, and as soon as people got word of mouth of it, no one saw it. And guess what? That word of mouth was correct, because I did not like this movie. I don't want to say at all, because there are some things where I could have liked it. That being said, I actually think I might hate this movie at points, to be honest, but not as much as I thought that I was going to. Where do you want to begin with this thing?
I don't even know, because this movie just it was so bad for me. I was struggling to watch this one. It felt kind of like it was trying to be like the first movie, where you have the special forces military unit kind of doing stuff. You have the cartels and the gangs, which kind of tie into the first two movies. But then you just have this little kid side storyline that just, it didn't fit in with the movie.
No.
The pacing for it just completely lost any traction you were building with the Predator storyline.
This movie had like 4 different movies in one.
Yeah, it was one of those movies they just couldn't figure out what they were trying to push. And I don't know why.
None of them were particularly good as far as I'm concerned, because, all right, you got story 1, which is, I think, the main story of the movie, which is Boyd Holbrook and his ragtag group of crazies. Yeah. And this is the story that I hate second most of the 4. because uh this is basically just R-rated MCU. This is like Deadpool. It's that whole like we need quippy characters telling quick jokes, and the
Yeah,
Deadpool was really big at the time. It just come out a couple years ago, and this is from the same studio that made Deadpool. So I imagine they really wanted, Keegan Michael Key telling jokes and stuff. Some of that stuff lands. They throw so much at the wall. Most of it does not stick, though. Most of it is incredibly annoying, and it takes the tension out of the movie, and it just kind of extends the runtime.
yeah, I agree. Keegan Michael Key for me, like I like him as a comedian. As an actor in this movie, he just did not fit the mold of the movie at all. I don't know if it's just my personal opinion or if that's how everybody else feels, but he didn't need to be in the movie. You could have had him out and it could have been a much more serious toned movie and it probably could have done better. But all the comedy just felt too forced.
Yeah,
But that's just
it
me.
it it felt forced. It felt, yeah, it was out of place. It wasn't funny a lot of the time. Um, I think that Boyd Holbrook in the action movie, that because I don't think he's doing as much of the comedic stuff. It's more of the people around him.
Yeah,
I think that
and
you
he
could have.
fit the role good. I liked him in the movie because he was at least he fit like the Arnold Schwarzenegger kind of typecast of the serious military guy trying to get stuff done. He's innovative. You see him playing around with the alien tech and like figuring out how to use it. That kind of stuff I enjoyed watching.
I
All the
think that if you
comedy.
made a movie of Boyd Holbrook and Trevante Rhodes just trying to hunt down the predator, that would have been enough. That would have been more than fine.
It would have
Um,
made more sense to have because it was basically they could have done a father son story and honed in more on that. Because
well, that
like
gets to story two, because
I
story
yeah,
two
I
is Jacob Tremblay and his whole autism thing, which I know we've been joking about this for a while because I've known about the whole point of the movie is that the predator is, it's like they're like exterminating the planet or something, but
don't
they
even know what
want
the plot was
they
for it.
want the most evolved version of the species, and apparently that is autistic people. Um, sure, and I say that as a autistic people. Sure, whatever, man. If that's what we're going with for the story of this movie, at
Okay,
least
so
commit
let's
to it. They
back
just
up
kind of
a
pull it out
second.
of its ass.
Let's back up a second. So I'm going to read the plot of this just to give some context for people who might have not have even seen it, have no idea what the hell we're talking about. So the overview plot is from the outer reaches of space to the small town streets of suburbia, the hunt comes home. The universe's most lethal hunters are stronger, smarter, and deadlier than ever before, having genetically upgraded themselves with DNA from other species. When a boy accidentally triggers their return to Earth, only a ragtag group of ex soldiers and an evolutionary biologist can prevent the end of the human race. So essentially, we're getting predators in this movie that are almost like hybrid predators, where they've adapted. We see the one that has the human DNA, and that kind of ties in like the kid with autism, linking everything together. He happens to be the kid of the military leader, so it all kind of ties together in that way. But it's just so much going on that when you read that, you're like, what are they should have just stuck to with one storyline and not done too much other stuff on the side because it's just kind of it diluted the plot too much.
Ready for story three?
No, because they were all terrible.
Story three is you've got this predator hunting this other predator, and that is a story, and you've got these predator dogs running around, and this is a story, the one about the predator in the Predator
Yeah.
movie called The Predator,
Well, so
and that storyline
have you
takes
guys
up
seen the
about maybe
Predator dogs?
5 minutes of screen time.
Yeah, but have I thought we had seen the Predator dogs before? Maybe I'm wrong. But for some reason, I
I
thought we had seen them
don't
before.
remember them. Were they in
I'm not-
Predator 2?
I don't know. I
I
feel
don't
like
think
we
they,
had
I don't
seen
think
them.
they were running around LA. Were they in
No, probably.
Predators?
That's one thing. That might be the one.
Maybe.
But even
Either
still,
way,
they're
I
not
hate
very
the
memorable.
concept.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
that
story
concept
4.
does at least lead to other movies, like the concept of the predators hunting other predators. We had seen that in Predators, and we see it in this movie, and we get that more in Badlands. I think it's better example. So this movie at least set up ideas that other future installments could at least adapt off of and make good movies. But yes, go
You
ahead
ready
with
for
story four.
story 4? Whatever the hell movie Sterling K. Brown was in. I don't even know. Whatever the fuck movie Sterling K. Brown was in. Because I'm going to be honest with you, that was my favorite movie. Just watching Sterling K. Brown just going off, chewing bubble gum, and just I was thoroughly. If there is one positive about this movie to me, it was Sterling K. Brown,
Mhm.
because that dude was just energetic as hell. He was just biting, chewing, and ripping up the screen time.
Yeah,
Whenever Sterling K. Brown was on screen, his stuff was working for me. I found him very funny. He is the reason why this movie is not like an F for me. It is solely on Sterling K. Brown.
that I think he had the most. I don't want to say acting ability, but I think he had the best acting persona in this movie. Whereas Boyd Holbrook at least had the more. He fit the military vibe, and then Jacob Tremblay was just a good kid actor. So those are probably your three leads that held the most weight in this movie. The rest of the cast to me just didn't fit the mold, and you could have swapped them out with anybody, and the movie could have probably done better.
Yeah,
But
I'm with you.
Sterling
I'm
K.
with you
Brown,
on that.
I do agree with you. Sterling K. Brown was definitely showing his acting chops, and again, he had just come off of. Well, actually, he was in the middle of This Is Us, the TV
Yeah.
show. He was in. What was he in right before this? This wasn't his startup role, was it? In terms of
I
movies,
mean, he was in some show called Army Wives that I've never heard of. It was on Lifetime. Um, he was on that show, The
he was in
People versus
Hotel
O.J.
Artemis that year
Simpson.
too.
But sorry,
I know he in 2018 he was also in Hotel Artemis. That was
he
pretty
was in
good.
Hotel Artemis. He had a small role in Black Panther. But This Is Us, and then this were really the big breakout roles for him. And then he kind of went away for a little bit until American Fiction in 2023, and I wish
Oh
he'd come
wait, no,
back.
yeah. How could I forget? He was in Black Panther this year too. Well, that year,
Yeah,
2018.
yeah. I also said that like 2 minutes ago, but
I know. Dude, short attention span here.
that is very true. I like him, and I think that he is very, very strong in this movie. Big fan of his. But yeah, this movie is, the fact that I said the 4 stories, it's all over the place. Again, I mentioned it earlier. This is about the time where we put Olivia Munn in movies. I've just never thought she was even a halfway decent actress. Um, yeah, I'm looking through her filmography right now, and I'm trying to find something that I thought that she was good in.
The only movie I knew her in was X-Men Apocalypse.
And she's horrible in that movie. I saw her in Ride Along 2, horrible in that movie. Um, yeah, I'm just not a big fan of her as an actress. Just not a terribly big fan. So it is what it
She's
is.
not really really a leading role kind of actress. I don't think she has
No,
any
but she
leading
has
roles.
more of a no. She's I don't think, yeah, she's not leading in any of those movies. Is the problem? She's a supporting role and not really doing particularly well with those either. Um, yeah, I don't need to spend a ton of time on this one. There's some cool visuals, some good Sterling K. Brown one-liners, honestly. Um, that's really about it for me, though. This is kind of it was one of the biggest disappointments of 2018 for sure, as far as movies are concerned. For me, it might actually be the biggest disappointment for me, and that was a year full of disappointments because, uh, just a few months later, we would get Ralph Breaks the Internet, and I was really excited for a Wreck-It Ralph 2, and that movie was not good at all. Um, I remember being really disappointed with Solo: A Star Wars Story when that came out. Rewatching it, I've grown on that. The movie's grown on me a little bit. It's not the disaster that I thought it was. It's still not as good as I would like it to be, but
Yeah.
it has redeeming qualities to it. Whereas this, I just can't. Yeah, it's probably the most disappointing movie of 2018 for me, and I would have to give it a D 85.20.
Well, we're exactly right on the money. I was going D90.
Okay,
So we're on the same
been
wavelength here.
we've been pretty close on some of these. We've been pretty close. I did have this above Predator 2. I think you were the same.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, had it above Predator 2, had it above I think I had it above Predators as well. But no, I had it below Predators. Predators was a D plus. Which makes sense because Predators didn't piss me off as much. It had the really bad
Predators had
Topher
a
Grace
much more
twist.
experienced cast, and I think that's what saved the movie.
I also feel like Predators had a more consistent tone throughout, which helps.
And it was a straight storyline. There wasn't all these subplots.
Yeah.
It accepted what it was, and it didn't try to deviate too much.
Yeah, it was very just, yeah. It was made by people that had a straight vision for what they wanted it to be, and not 18 million different ideas that didn't come together. Even though I didn't like it. All right, let's start with the Trachtenberg movies now, because we've got 3 Dan Trachtenberg movies. Maybe we'll get more. I hope we get more. I don't know if we're gonna get more. We'll see. But it started here.
Well, they've been. I feel like we'll get more.
But I don't know about financially. But we'll talk about that next episode. This one, I will never understand for the life of me. Tommy, in 2022, when this movie came out August 5th, 2022.
Okay.
Do you know how much money this made at the American box office that weekend?
I feel like
none, Tommy, none, because this went to straight to Hulu. This movie was not released in theaters, Tommy.
Really?
This was not a theatrically released movie in 2022. So we were out of COVID. COVID was, it was still a topic of discussion, but it wasn't 2020 or 2021. Movies were coming to theaters.
Was it made during COVID and they had already made the deal to go straight to streaming, probably?
I don't think that was it. It was made in June of 2021. So it wasn't made during like lockdown. I don't know. Very confusing choice here. I think that people expected streaming to be a much bigger deal than it was. Maybe they didn't have confidence in it. I'm not sure. Either way, this was a movie people were, the second that it came out, they're like, why is this something that I'm getting to watch day one on my couch? It was very confusing. And then people got to the end of the movie and they were even more confused because everyone really liked this movie.
Yeah.
This was a well-received movie.
This is a movie that I had sat on for so long and I really wanted to watch it. And then when we had eventually discussed doing this franchise, I'm like, all right, now I have to wait even longer to watch this because I have heard nothing but good things about this movie. I don't think I've heard a single negative thing about this movie. And I remember when it came out, I remember everybody was raving about it, of just being a great original idea for the franchise, bringing everything back to the point where people like, this franchise is back on its feet. And just the fact that it was kind of a unique storyline where especially for the Predator franchise, like we never really had anything dated past like the 80s or 90s. Like the fact that they were going back that far and having people that couldn't shoot guns fighting a predator was definitely a very unique thing to throw into this franchise, and I thought it worked perfectly.
I gotta say, I was a bit concerned because again, the Hulu release, the fact that we hadn't gotten a good Predator movie in quite some time,
Mm-hmm.
but this one just felt a little bit different because I had heard that, like, all right, it's going to be taking place in the 1700s, and if you want to on Hulu, you have the option to watch it in, like, I can't remember whether it was Comanche or whatever the language was.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, and I remember just thinking, okay, this sounds like some effort went into it. And
There
I'm
was
kind
definitely
of
effort that went
sad,
into
and
this
I'm
movie.
kind of sad that this is just being dumped on Hulu because it almost makes it seem like there is
I
no
don't know
effort
if this
being put
movie
into it.
was put in for any awards or if it won any awards, but I feel like visual effects, this movie did really well.
It did not
Especially
get
compared to
any.
all the previous entries, like this was definitely the best looking movie.
It did not get any Oscar nominations. No.
Okay.
It got some nominations in some places for like best movie made for television, which again just feels strange.
Yeah.
But and best actress in something along those lines for Amber Midthunder or
Yeah.
Midthunder, who is great in this. And this was at a point my favorite Predator movie, my favorite movie in the franchise.
Uh,
The Trachtenberg movies have really they've connected with me. I'm a big fan of this one. Um, I wish that I could have seen it in a theater, of course. I like that this movie is tense. It's got a good underdog story, which I like.
mhm.
And I think that you don't get that without a great lead performance.
Yeah.
And this movie really needed a solid main character to follow, which I feel like none of these movies have had. They've all been, except for Predator 2 and except for the first two. Predator 2 is Danny Glover, and then you got Arnold Schwarzenegger. Adrian Brody's the lead, but it's really an ensemble. Boyd Holbrook's the lead, but it's really an ensemble. This is the first time since Predator 2 that we've gotten a main protagonist that we are following, and I think
Mhm.
that the movie is better off for it.
Yes. Because it works more when it's kind of a one on one fight with the predator. There's more at stake. And it's more watching this lead role be more resourceful when fighting the predator. Whereas when you have the ensemble fighting it, it's like, all right, well, you got like 8 people against one predator. Odds are somebody's gonna get a hit on it. But when you have her, especially, that's what I really liked about this movie is the fact that there was no guns. She had to really rely on more hand to hand combat and like the tools that she had to be actually effective, and she managed to take it down. And I think the most tense scene wasn't even when she was fighting the predator, but just the scene where she's in the bog and is sinking and has to like throw the axe to like pull herself out. I was like, this chick's a badass. Like, there's no way she's not gonna take down the predator in this movie.
I mean, but that's the thing that I didn't feel is that I never felt like, oh yeah, she's definitely going to get through this.
I thought she was.
At every turn, I felt like, well, hey, maybe we're following someone else after this because the hits keep on coming, and
Yeah.
the Predator. I think the sound design in this movie is really good.
Yep.
A lot of the kills, they don't show as much as maybe they have in others. Not that they don't show anything, but I feel like a lot of it is like left for you to connect some dots, but not in a cheap way.
They went more with the CGI kills, like when it kills the bear. Like I feel like they went much more violent when killing the animals versus when they killed the humans.
And that's kind of the same tactic that they used for Predator Badlands.
Hmm.
And some people have called that out as being kind of lazy or hackish. And I understand how you could get to that, but I just personally, I
See,
didn't care too much.
in this movie, I thought it was effective because again, you have Native Americans like to them and their back then like bears were probably like the biggest predator they would face besides like a wolf. So to see a predator like come and just absolutely destroy the bear, it kind of sets the tone of like, okay, this, they're really gonna have to put up a good fight to take this thing down, and they're probably shitting their pants because they're like, this thing just took down a full grown bear with no problem at all. So I
Yeah.
thought it was very effective there. Whereas like in modern day, like if that were to happen, it's like, okay, cool. Well, they have guns. That was easy.
Yeah,
Like no
exactly.
problem.
Yeah. But I do think that this movie kind of gains some sort of an advantage for being set in the 1700s when
It's a
it
unique
was a
setting.
lot more hand to hand. And I think that makes something like the Predator even more scary than just, all right, everyone unload your guns at it and see what happens.
Yep. It allows more, I think, creativity with like the choreography with the fight scenes.
I agree with that. Um, Believe it or not, I really have less to say about this movie than I did about The Predator because this is just a movie that you just turn it on and it's just an enjoyable time.
Yeah.
Whereas The Predator gives you so many things where it's like, how do we even get down this path? This is
Yep.
just a straightforward, fun action movie that I really wish this movie came out the same day. Let me make sure that I've got this right. I don't want to be giving you incorrect information here because if not, this would have been a kick-ass double feature. Yeah, it did. Damn it. This came out the same day as Bullet Train. And
Ooh.
now those movies would have directly eaten into each other's box office. And I
Yeah.
think that Bullet Train probably would have, gotten more. But everything after Bullet Train, the rest of the month of August, was just completely lacking. So Prey should have come out at some point in that month. But a Bullet Train Prey double feature would have been a really fun time at the cinema. And
I don't know how the
I'd say
movie
I would
rights
prefer
work
Prey
with
to the
streaming,
two.
but I feel like this movie would be great to throw into a movie theater. This one
Yeah,
deserves to be seen on the big screen.
absolutely. And I think that they did for a little bit. It was shown for like a day last year in the lead up to Predator Badlands,
Okay.
but in very limited theaters. Like nowhere within an hour of me was this movie playing. So I was never going to be able to see it, but I would have loved to because it I think that in 2022 this movie either just missed my honorable mentions for the top 10 or was in my honorable mentions for the top 10. Let me double check that because 2022 was not a terribly deep year for movies, but it was a fun year for movies. Okay, it was my number. It just missed it. It was my number 17 movie of 2022. So
Okay.
a movie that I would definitely highly recommend to people if you missed it, because a lot of people might have dismissed it because, well, this is a movie that's going to streaming and not the theaters. It's a Predator movie. There haven't been too many good ones of those since the first one, if any at all. So
Yep.
I'm gonna skip this one. Rectify your mistake because this is definitely one to check out in whatever format that you can. I gave it. I got to do a good bit of scrolling up from where I rated the Predator. I gave it an A, 24.02. Thoroughly enjoyed this one. Would highly recommend.
I gave this an A 92. It was very close to A
Oh
plus.
damn!
It's very close.
Wow. Okay, I did not expect that.
This hands down is my favorite movie in the franchise so far. And
that is now Predator, or are you also including Alien?
No, just Predator.
Okay, I was gonna say if you like this more than Aliens, then I might have some
it doesn't
problems.
top Aliens.
Okay.
But out of both franchises, I would say it's probably in second or third place. Aliens is definitely hands down in first. But yeah,
Yeah.
it's visually, story wise, everything's a lot of fun, and it's just I haven't really had any Predator movie so far where I'm like, I really want to watch that again, or like I would really recommend this to somebody. This I would.
Well, hey, this is the first of what so far is the Trachtenberg trilogy. We'll see if we get more. But next up, we've got Predator Killer of Killers, which is the first animated movie in the franchise. I wonder if we'll get any more of those. And then Predator Badlands, both of those coming out last year in 2025. And I may have given my thoughts about those movies in here, but the Trachtenberg trilogy is certainly an interesting point in this Predator franchise, and it'll be interesting to see if it keeps going as well. But we'll review those not next week because I'm really pumped for this next podcast. This next one is going to be one for the books, and I've already watched both of them in advance because I've been so excited. We're back to David Fincher for a brief period of time. We've got Fight Club and Seven, two of the most iconic movies of the 1990s, directed by David Fincher. We got Brad Pitt. Brandon just randomly hops on right as we're about to sign off on the podcast. But yeah, Fight Club and Seven coming next, and then afterwards, it's back to the Predator franchise with Predator Killer of Killers and Predator Badlands. So we'll see you then.